On Larry King Now, Tegan and Sara.
Well, you know, we grew up listening to Bruce Springsteen. He married these very emotional but upbeat songs with personal stories from his life. And
Almost all songs are autobiographical.
Yeah. Exactly, and so when Sara and I started writing music, that was how we sort of approached our career. When we signed to our first record deal, it was Neil Young's manager who signed us, and he said, you know, you'll make your best records in your 30s and your 40s. And it was like, that was wonderful to hear for us, because we thought, oh, we've got plenty of time now. We don't even have to be good yet. Some of the traits that are most apparent and visible in us are masculine traits, or things associated with being masculine. So we're very confident and we're very aggressive and we're leaders. And I think oftentimes the kind of girls we attract are not always attracted to women, and then they meet us and dominoes. What everyone is afraid of in society.
Yeah, totally.
Plus, you like Adele?
Love Adele.
Yeah.
I mean, I would literally break the band up if Adele told me to. Like, I would do anything for her.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our guests today are Canadian twin musical duo Tegan and Sara. The beloved Quinn sisters released their 8th studio album this year, Love You to Death, and they're currently on a worldwide tour. Did you switch from indie rock to pop?
Kind of. I mean, sometimes the media covered it as if it was an overnight thing, but, you know, as you just said, it's our 8th record, and the last 2 we definitely transitioned in and sort of allowed our 80s influences to come out. And you know, we had been doing this a long time and we'd had a lot of really awesome success, but we sort of got to 30 and thought we wanted to try to reach as many people as we could, and we felt like pop would help us reach a bigger audience, and we have a love for pop, so. You
know, taking on a new concept didn't happen in the old days.
No.
You know, like Frank Sinatra didn't suddenly become a rock singer. Right? Why now?
You know, I think it's probably got something to do with the internet, and you know, there's certainly an intermingling and a more friendly kind of attitude towards, oh, I'm going to do a rock record, I'm going to do a pop record. I think that's probably what the younger generation desires. They don't see themselves as only being interested in one type of music. They're used to Spotify and playlists and mixing and mingling, and so I think for us it allows us to sort of reintroduce ourselves and also inspire ourselves. We've been making music since 1995, so you know, we don't listen to the same stuff we listened to when we first started, and I think that, you know, you can really hear that in our evolution over 8 albums.
You don't look 95.
We started when we were in high school, so I mean, we're mature. We've had a lot of experience. We're not super young, but
you're young.
We like to think we look young.
I'm young. She might be older than me, but I'm very, very young.
Did you lose any fans when you made the transition?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, we didn't focus too much on it. I think we made a real effort. Although we did change the production slightly, we made an effort to craft, I thought, 10 very strong songs. So
I understand they're very personal.
Yeah.
You explore your own relationships in this?
Oh, yeah.
In what way?
Well, you know, we grew up listening to Bruce Springsteen. That was the person in our household that we all obsessed over as a family. And the 2 things that I loved about Bruce Springsteen growing up was how he married these very emotional but upbeat songs with personal stories from his life. And
almost all songs are autobiographical.
Yeah. Exactly. And so when Sara and I started writing music, that was how we sort of approached our career. And the other thing that I've grown to love so much about Bruce Springsteen is now looking at his career, his entire career and his catalog, he changed his sound. And I think that's probably why Sara and I felt we could do it. And so we just infused so much of ourselves into the music, you know.
He's got a new autobiography out.
I know. I can't wait to read it.
This album was produced by Greg Kurstin, who's also worked with Adele and Beck, right? What makes a good producer?
Well, I think it depends on what the artist needs, but I think for Sara and I, a good producer in our world can push us. You know, we've been doing this a long time, but I think we
can be very stubborn.
We can be very stubborn, and we like to produce ourselves, and so I think you need someone who understands you and respects you. I think as women in the industry, we also are always looking for allies who respect us as women and as writers.
Like Adele, I understand you do a lot of talking to the audience in your tour. Why is that?
You know, we said that in the beginning. It was because our first tour in I think it was 2000. We actually went out and opened for Neil Young, and that audience. You know, we walk out onto stage. We're like 20 years old. I don't know if we thought we had very much in common, or we were going to be able to relate to the audience that was there.
And in a way, we knew that if people heard us talk and they heard our story, that it would be harder to be mean to us, you know, like get off the stage. So I think in a way we used our personality and our banter between the two of us to hopefully engender some kind of feeling of, I don't know, openness or empathy.
Yeah.
And obviously as we've gotten more successful, it's just sort of part of what makes us feel comfortable.
Your business partners
Yeah.
and your sisters.
Yep.
Sisters have been known to fight. Do you fight?
We did a lot growing up, for sure. And then the beginning of our career was pretty tumultuous. You know, all of our friends were off at university having fun and living their lives, and we were trapped in a car together, driving around playing to 10 people. We'd fight over who was going to go in and talk to the sound man and who was going to settle the show. And oftentimes we were the only other people there, so we took everything out on each other. And also, I see Sara as a reflection of myself, but also as an appendage of mine in some ways. So when she does something that I don't like or I don't feel reflects me, often that will cause tension. But now, at this part in our career, I think we're very vocal about the fact that we've found a balance. Mm-hmm. I think there's a deep respect. I think Sara's a great songwriter. She's very intelligent. She reads so much. She's invested so much time in understanding our business, but also a political side of our band that, she has an attention span that I don't have. And so I think I've just come to really respect her and give her the room she needs.
In America, there's an organization of twins. They meet in convention a lot. I've interviewed, they really are.
Yeah, I know. I would love to go. Yeah.
Do you have a psychic connection? Because I remember on that show that I did long ago, I was taking calls from all over.
Yeah.
And one of the twins didn't have his brother there. And all the lights were lit up. And as I was going to the next call, he said, "That's my brother."
Whoa. You know...
Do you ever have, and it was.
Well,
That's
amazing.
Know, I think that for us, what we've realized is that there is certainly something that connects us. Like, we're very intuitive with one another. We've been through 36 years of life together at all times. So, I mean, I certainly feel like I have a sort of innate understanding of who Tegan is and what's going on in her life. But I always say if we could just read each other's thoughts, we would have gone to, like, Vegas and started, like, a
Millionaires.
You know, like a show or
you have
something.
brothers or sisters?
No brothers or
sus.
sisters.
Yeah.
When you look at her, do you see you?
I see a version of myself, yeah.
Our guests are Tegan and Sara Quinn. We're talking politics with the outspoken duo after the break, and the album is Love You to Death. We'll be right back. We're back with Tegan and Sara, the hit duo. Their new album is Love You to Death. You're both gay. Mm-hmm. Did you become aware that you were gay at about the same time?
I think so. I mean, Sara was dating someone when we were in high school, and
A boy?
no, a
No,
girl.
a girl.
And
We did date boys,
yeah.
but
when she
I
started
came
to
out.
date the girl, I was like, at the same time, very much aware of my own feelings. It's a weird one for us because we grew up in a pretty conservative city, but I never felt any shame or worry. I just feel like it took a time for me to decide to come out. I like the idea of coming out after high school. I think for us it was sort of very natural, which is very weird, like there was no real sad story.
Was it hard for your parents?
I think they probably, more than anything, they just worried about us. They didn't want us to face any kind of discrimination.
We said we were going to play music at the same time, and they were just like, oh,
They were more
God.
worried about us not going to college. I'll tell you what, they were more worried about that than they were about us being gay.
Yeah.
You recently said, Sara and I always say we're not just lesbians. We are lesbians, but there's always been something about Sara and I where there's a certain kind of straight girl who's really into us. What did you mean?
Well, actually, it's really interesting because there's been obviously so much, the last couple of years, such a shift, people talking about gender and gender identity and the spectrum. And Sara and I have always called ourselves tomboys, but that never quite encapsulated how I felt about myself. And I think for Sara and I, it wasn't just about being lesbians. I think we are there is something masculine about us. I think we can be very feminine, and I think we're very much comfortable with our feminine side. But I think Sara and I we're leaders. Some of the traits that are most apparent and visible in us are masculine traits, or things associated with being masculine. So we're very confident and we're very aggressive and we're leaders. And I think oftentimes the kind of girls we attract are not always attracted to women, and then they meet us and dominoes.
Does that show up?
Everyone is afraid of in society.
Yeah, totally.
Does that show up, Sara, in your music?
I mean, I will say this. I think that, Tegan and I sort of present ourselves very naturally, comfortable. The way we learned to sing was very natural. But often, I don't know that we take on this sort of
you know, we don't necessarily sound like other girls. We don't sing like other girls. You know, sometimes I think that we were very comfortable being strong and confident and aggressive in our music in a way that I think sometimes women, even on a subconscious level, are sort of made to think like, oh, you shouldn't be like that. You should be pretty, or you should be gentle. And I think Tegan and I sort of always just, we took our cues from a lot of the music that we grew up listening to, like punk rock and rock music. And a lot of times the people who were fronting those bands, male or female, were yeah, there was like a confidence, a bravado, and I think we have that.
Concerning gays, transgenders, is Canada progressively ahead of America?
Yeah. Yeah. Canada's politics are a little more progressive.
Well, you have a very progressive president.
We do, but you know, the truth is that marriage equality happened as our progressive government went out of government and a conservative government led for over 10 years. But I think Canadians are inherently open-minded. I think that there is something built into the fabric of our country that is, I mean, we jokingly say it's socialism, but I mean, I think we do believe in taking care of each other. It's a much smaller country than America, so I think we feel a responsibility to everyone. We have a multi-party system. I mean, you know all of this, so it's also, I think, we want to represent the people, and you know, we had a very amazing prime minister who passed marriage equality and said the rights of the minority should never be subject to the whims of the majority, and I think that we live by that in Canada. And so now, you know, over 10 years later, with the transgender movement happening and people standing up for transgender people, you know, we're legislating change ahead of America. But, you know, I think America's a great country, and I think that there's a lot more people here, and there's a diverse group of people in America, and we both date Americans. We've worked in America for 17 years, and I'm hesitant to say Canada is better, but I think that it's easier for us to wrap our minds around taking care of each other.
Canadians are more interested in American politics than Americans are interested in Canada.
That's true.
Well, right now they seem pretty interested in our really hunky Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. I mean, he's very easy.
His father wasn't bad either.
He was incredible.
Pierre Trudeau is also amazing.
And I mean, the Prime Minister's doing a great job. He stepped into power immediately and is
very
reflecting
popular,
diversity and
got an 80% popularity rate.
making change. People like that. The people they want to elect a leader, and then they want to see change happen.
And I think we, as Canadians, we are interested in what's happening in the United States because it's hard to turn away from it, and it influences and informs and impacts so many people. Yeah, it's big. I mean, we're definitely tuned in and watching that every day.
Do you want to get married?
I do not want to get married.
Do you want to get married?
I believe that the rights that come along with marriage are important and may apply to us both, although we're resistant to it because we have American partners. But I don't like the idea of a wedding. I feel it's very... the part of me that wants to fight against a certain path.
It feels conforming to a very sort of, to me, a very traditional and old-fashioned ideal.
But I'm happy to continue to push and fight for that around the world for all people.
We definitely see that there is a value to that social, you know.
So you wouldn't want to raise a child?
Oh, I would have children, and I think common law, you know, status is totally valid. My mother and her partner were together for over 13 years, raising us, and they never felt the need to get married. And we always saw my mom's partner as our stepdad. We didn't need them to have a wedding for us to see their, you know, the connection they had.
I've talked a lot about it over the years. Did you ever wonder why you were different?
You know, it's weird. I don't always think about, you know, that in terms of our sexuality, but I do sometimes think that Tegan and I had a sense of direction from when we were very little. You know, we didn't necessarily see it as a musical one, but we were performers. We got a lot of attention. There was a lot of observation around us because we were twins, but we were always very comfortable with it. And we wanted to help people. We were always involved in whatever my mom was interested in, activism, you know, social issues. This doesn't feel that weird, that we're public figures, you know?
What is Tegan and Sara's greatest fan encounter? We'll talk about that and who they trade places with after the break. Our guests are Tegan and Sara. Their new album is Love You to Death. They've been doing it quite a while, and they're still very young. Frank Sinatra told me, I hate to name drop, but Frank Sinatra
Please.
told me once, there's a lot to be said for longevity.
Oh, yes.
You guys have been around for a young group, right?
Yeah. I mean, when we signed to our first record deal, it was Neil Young's manager who signed us, and he said, you know, you'll make your best records in your 30s and your 40s. And it was like, that was wonderful to hear for us, because we thought, oh, we've got plenty of time now. We don't even have to be good yet. You know, we can just work into it.
Have you had crazy fan encounters?
You know, we have a very passionate and very loyal fan base.
How do they show it sometimes?
Well, some of them, I mean, we've got a really cool group of fans who have seen over 100 shows, some of them 130, 140 shows. They travel all over the world.
Men and women?
Men and women. It's cool. It's really neat. I mean, they show their love for us. I mean, they're very fierce. They're fierce online. They're very protective. And, yeah, and we have I'd say most of our fan encounters are very positive.
Do you perform all over the world?
We do, yeah. We've actually just started to play. One of our focuses, I guess, on this record was Southeast Asia. So we've spent a lot of time at, you know, Hong Kong and China and the Philippines, and we're trying to build new markets. We're about to go down to South America for the first time in our career. We really see ourselves as an international band.
Music's universal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Very much.
We're going to play a game of If You Only Knew. I just throw some.
Okay.
Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
I was obsessed with Jared Leto.
You?
I was going to say Joey McIntyre from the New Kids on the Block.
Solid. Solid choice.
Musician you most wanted to emulate when you started?
Oh, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, I think Bruce Springsteen was our career. Like, that's what we wanted.
Guilty pleasure?
Oh, nothing. I don't feel guilty about anything pleasurable.
Wine.
Last time you were starstruck?
That's a hard one. That happens a lot. Maybe Bill Clinton.
Oh my God, I mean, my mind just went blank. It's like every day.
Have you met Bruce Springsteen?
No, I don't want to meet Bruce Springsteen. I'm so scared.
We're too scared.
That's our childhood idol.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Musician or band your fans would be surprised to know you listen to?
Well, I mean, I think when we made our transition into pop, I think people were surprised that we actually quite enjoy...
Love pop.
You know, Taylor Swift and Katy Perry and Justin Bieber. I mean, I have a ton of respect for what they do.
City with the wildest fans?
I mean, Europe is
And Mexico.
yeah, Mexico's been crazy. I don't know. The truth is we're everywhere we go. It's just I'm so blown away by people's enthusiasm. It's a wonderful way to spend your life standing in front of an audience
Well,
cheering.
there's nothing like performing.
It's
No,
wonderful.
it's great.
All right, which of you is higher maintenance?
Sarah,
Oh, I don't think so.
by far.
Tegan.
Who's the biggest risk taker?
Me.
Really? Yeah, maybe.
Who's the messiest?
I think I'm cleaner.
Yeah, I'm messier.
Who gets embarrassed most easily?
I probably am more embarrassed.
Yeah.
Most likes to talk to strangers?
I love to talk to strangers.
Tegan talks to anyone.
Who is your style icon right now?
Oh my God, that's so good. Well, I'm going to be honest, Justin Bieber just popped into my head, so can't get away from that.
Oh my
You?
God.
Me?
Yeah, I like the suspenders. I love your tie.
Yeah, you look great.
I have no style icon.
No.
Oh, I like Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
Who would you trade places with for a day?
Oh, wow.
Right now, I would love to trade places with Hillary Clinton.
I was going to say, I would like to, political, with Justin Trudeau. I'd love to see what it's like to live his life right now.
What do people get wrong about Canada?
A lot.
Everything.
I think one of the big misconceptions, you know, is that it's this perfect place. It's not. It's an imperfect place. We have a lot of the same problems America has, but on a much smaller scale.
Which I think makes it amazing.
What do people get wrong about twins?
Everything, yeah.
Can you read each other's minds? Do you still live together?
My big one is the pain. Can you feel each other's pain? Always stresses me
That's
out.
from the Corsican Brothers.
Really?
There's a famous novel where one
Could feel the
would
other's
be in
pain?
a sword fight and get clipped, and the other would be hundreds of miles
Oh,
away.
wow.
Feel it was
I mean, we get that question, I would say, at least once a day.
Yeah.
something you long believed to be true but realized wasn't.
I think that probably, like, the harder you work, the more you will succeed. That's proven not necessarily to be true.
I know. All right, something people don't know about you.
Oh, I feel like we're pretty transparent. No, I think everyone knows everything.
I think there's literally nothing left to reveal.
You both have American girlfriends?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You get to see them a lot?
We see the people in our lives, you know, our partners, our parents, our family, probably more than we've ever done before, just because we have access and the financial stability to bring people out. And
We've definitely we've prioritized family.
Any
and
tour with you?
Sometimes they have real jobs.
There's
like
nothing
grown-ups.
glamorous about coming on a tour bus. They come for 2 nights and then they're like,
Peace
no,
out.
thank you.
Sara and Tegan will answer your social media questions in our final segment. Stay with us. We're back with Tegan and Sara. The new album is Love You to Death. You said, Sara, before we get some social media questions, that you think about death all the time?
I do, actually.
I do too.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be 83.
I mean, I've been thinking it since I was a little kid. I think that, you know, mortality always was a troubling thing to me. And, you know, we didn't grow up very religious. You know, my parents were Catholic, but we didn't go to church or anything. But somewhere, it just got in there in my mind. What happens after you go?
Not existing.
It still is very upsetting.
Hard. Yeah. Very. Okay, we have some social media questions for you. Frankie Capella tweets, do you enjoy performing in more intimate venues, or are you gearing up for stadiums?
I mean, I think the goal is always to create a show that feels intimate for everyone that's there, no matter what size venue you're in. I like all of them. You know, we've opened for people like Neil Young and Katy Perry in arenas, and then we've played to 300 people in Zagreb. And all those shows are different. They provide different experiences and challenges, but
we wouldn't be sad if we got up to stadiums.
No, I mean, that'd be great if it was our own stadium show, but I'll take clubs, that's fine.
You like opening, too?
Yeah, I think supporting people is a really good, it's a good way to learn new skills and to, you know, to make new fans. But we like headlining. That's our favorite thing to do.
And Arbed57 wants to know, what female artists inspired you in the early years?
Cyndi Lauper, Madonna, Kate Bush.
When we were in high school, Ani DeFranco put out a record called Living in Clip, which was a live record, and I remember listening to her tell stories and her candor with her audience, and I remember that really inspiring me.
Yeah.
You like Adele?
Love Adele.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would literally break the band up if Adele told me to. Like, I would do anything for her.
Peregrine asks, what's the biggest secret for your eternal youth? You are young.
I think that there's, it's probably genetic, so I hate saying that there's anything else responsible for it. But we try to be happy. We try to live a good life. We do what we love every day, so that probably has a part in it.
Madican19, what's the hardest part of being an artist?
Well, you're away from your family and friends a lot. I mean, there's a sacrifice, definitely, you know, by being away. Like, the physical, like, space is hard. You miss a lot. You know, people die. You miss...
People get married.
People have kids. You're not there. You spend a lot of time building up your life, and then you leave for... I mean, we'll be away for 2 years, so that's tough.
Gordo Frado, I believe he's a hairstylist, named Frado, wants to know who does your hair.
Oh, well, most days. It's just myself. But we're working with someone great, actually, here in LA, David Gardner. Great.
He is fantastic. He just gave me a double pony for a video, and it's blowing up on the internet.
Adore Boundaries wants to know who sleeps on the top bunk and who sleeps on the bottom.
We both have bottoms.
Yeah.
This is what's so great. It feels weird to look at you and say we both have bottoms, because that just seems like a very weird statement.
It is weird, yeah.
The bus has 8 bunks, and we both take bottoms.
Yeah.
It Was Midnight asks, any chance of another Sarah Hoy happening in the near future?
Oh, so we
What's
did.
That?
Basically, the band Paramore, they did a cruise, and we were on the cruise with them, and we, you know, all these bands go on the play shows and that sort of thing. Tegan and I would love to do another cruise. We love those kinds of things.
We like the prospect of being trapped on the open seas with a couple thousand of our closest fans.
Dark Comes Soon, what songs off the old LPs that don't have a music video would you like to make one for?
Oh boy,
Good question.
Do you know what? The truth is that we had a record come out in 2007 called The Con, and we only were able to make a couple of music videos for that album. And I would love, back then there wasn't as much money or emphasis on making visual you know, components for albums when you were a band like us. I would love to go back and make a video for every song on that record.
The money is more in performing today, right?
Yeah, and you know, and a lot of the like videos that we make now, they're for the internet. They're driven by YouTube and those kinds of things. Back in 2007, we knew we weren't getting on MTV, so there wasn't as many videos made.
Beleaf, if it's not too personal, what's the story behind Tegan's Hebrew tattoo?
My best friend in high school was Jewish, and she was not going to ever get tattooed, and we were really close, and she was leaving to go away to school, and she drew me a Hebrew tattoo, and it's kind of a joke between us because...
What is it, a Jewish star?
No, it's the letters that spell out Elah, and basically it's wrong. The point of this story is for all young people out there, don't put anything on you that you're not 100% sure of. But I've said I want to fix it or change it, but we've decided, we've been friends for like 20-some years, and we're just going to leave it.
At W09, Have you accomplished all that you dreamt of back in the day, or still more you'd like to do?
Well, the good news is that every time we have accomplished things that we set out to do, there's always another list of things that we want to do. So hopefully we'll still have some accomplishments in our future.
You two are terrific.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Very nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to my guests, Sara and Tegan Quinn. Their latest album is Love You to Death. For more on their tour, visit teganandsara.com. This is the album. As always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things. See you next time.